Hello, let's take a look at my bearish and bullish scenarios for Bitcoin. Starting with the bearish bigger WXY. Here we are counting this as a wave 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5, 4, 5, and so on, looking for lower prices. And is this a high probability wave 4? If we take a look at the time here, you can see that we have reached over 6.8 fib time, meaning that this is a very low probability wave 4. It is even lower if we hit this, the wave 4 invalidation, but as of right now, this is extremely low probability that is a wave 4, meaning that this is not really the highest probability impulse down, and then we need to resort to other scenarios. If we move on to the daily WXY, this is a higher probability, just because of this A, W, X, Y into B, C, W, and now we're looking for a W, X, and then a Y to finish wave X, and then we are looking for a finishing wave Y, preferably a double zigzag, that kind of structure. If we hit this, that's a low probability for a deep double zigzag correction. We could also get this kind of scenario, so W, 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 X, Y to X, Y, and then move down. So a bigger sideways correction. That is also very possible. But we are just using the information that we have right now, and that bigger scenario isn't really on the tables as of right now. So if we take a look at this scenario that we had before, so this is the same basically. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. If we have a finished wave 4 here, because that is breaking this channel just a little bit. I mean, it's not preferable that we are breaking the channel at lowest probability, but even so, now we have touched this, the invalidation, as I have written in my previous video, meaning that we can no longer use like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that kind of thing. So we are not done here. So this scenario is basically invalidated. So if we move on then to the local structure here, and we are now counting this as a WXY, a zigzag down, what are the probabilities that we are finished here? If we take a look at this, so 1, 2, 1, A, B, C, W, X, Y into wave 2, and now we go into 3, 4, 5, and so on, that we are basically finished here, and this is the bullish scenario. This doesn't really have the highest probability just because of the time here between 1 and wave 2. If you compare the time between wave 2 here of this degree of this 1, 2, and you compare that to this 1, 2, you can see that this, the latter one, is significantly bigger, which is not what you want to see, which lowers the probability of this being complete and this being the correct, or I mean the highest probability count. So then we are resorting to this leading diagonal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into wave 1, W, A, B, C, X, A, B, C, D, E, triangle in wave Y into wave 2, and after 1, 2, we are looking for upside. This is a viable count, but a leading diagonal, as I mentioned in my previous videos, never have the highest probability. It's always a corrective structure, then a 1, 2, and then leading diagonal. Like a 1, 2, and a corrective structure is depending on the market, but the leading diagonal is always the last in the probabilities there. So it doesn't have the highest probability, and also, as I have mentioned before, ABC, this wave 3 in this presumed leading diagonal doesn't look great. But we need to be aware that it exists, and also probabilities change. If we get a clear like three-way structure with a 4 and then a 5 and a correction with a 3-wave, yeah, absolutely, this becomes the highest probability. But as of right now, this does not have the highest probability. So what have the highest probability? Just right now, it is this. We are looking for, as I mentioned before, W, W, X, Y. Here we have the same ABC. I can do it like this. So ABC, X, A, B, C, D, E, triangle in wave Y, finishing wave X like that. And now we are moving up into wave Y. That has the highest probability right now, just because of going by the book Elliott Wave Principle by Frost and Prechter. The corrective structures have always the highest probability in this kind of scenario. 1 to 1 2 is in a special case, but a leading diagonal is never the highest probability. So therefore, this has the highest probability, and it also counts better as the leading diagonal as well, because in a leading diagonal, you want to have a zigzag structure in a corrective wave, and here you have a W, X, Y, that kind of structure, meaning that it lowers the probability even more for this being a leading diagonal, because in a leading diagonal you want to have a very deep retracement, which we got, but we didn't get it in a zigzag family structure. We got it in a W, because you can't really finish this zigzag right here, because then how are you going to count 1 2 3? I mean, one, you take out the low and so on. So you need to have a WXY here in order to make this count. You could argue that you could have like a W here, but then you are, as I mentioned, a W, and a zigzag is the highest probability after a leading diagonal. So therefore, this doesn't have the highest probability as well, as I mentioned, all the other criteria basically. So yeah, this has the highest probability, and I have written, let's see, I have written here is this. So ABCW, this is the one we are looking at, W, X, Y. And this, I have written the minimum target for a wave X. If you can see here, this is the 38.2 fib, which is the minimum target for a wave X. I mean, wave X could be lower. We could be done with a wave X. If I put it down, like 23.6 is also a target, but it's a very rare target. So this is the most common, the lowest common target for a wave X. So if we hit that, yeah, we are on the right track basically. So yeah, the probabilities, as I mentioned, higher for this being a corrective wave, unless we get a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ABC, and then we get an impulse. Yeah, then the leading diagonal takes over. But until then, this has the highest probability. And if this is a corrective structure, we are looking to either take the low here, or we are looking to finish in a triangle like that. So A, B, C, D, E, and we have, if I do it like this, maybe it's a bit unclear. So a triangle like A, B, C, D, E, like that. So we have W, X, Y, and after that we go. That is the only basically scenario where we don't really take out this low. Yeah, that was a pretty short and to the point update on Bitcoin. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope it was helpful to you, and I also hope you have a great day.